Hey everyone, my name is Sam, also known as Mr. Stainless 001, and this is a series I'm calling Road to Reputation. Basically, in these videos, I'm going to be taking my Warden and trying to reach the highest reputation I can in the game while sharing some tips, some thoughts, and really just analysing my play as we go. They won't just be tips for Warden players though. In fact, a lot of what I will talk about will have relevance to you, no matter what hero you play as in the game. In today's video, I wanted to really focus on something that I know a lot of us experience a lot in the game, and that's defeat. For Honor can have a pretty steep learning curve, and at times it can feel like no matter what you do, what you change, you just can't seem to turn the tide of defeat. When that happens, it's very easy to get swept up in the swathe of posts and comments and threads you'll see online about how something or some certain character is OP. I think if your default position when you lose in For Honor is to say that character is OP, then this video is not for you. Instead, the position you need to take when you lose needs to be one of, okay, what did I do wrong here? What was my enemy's playstyle? And what has it told me about them, and what can I do different? What can I learn? This is something I'm trying to do more and more. I know I can get pretty salty in For Honor, so this can be a real challenge for me too, but a few weeks ago, Jason Vandenberg shared a great Reddit post someone in the community had made, and I thought that today, in our first Road to Reputation video, I'd set this as our foundation. So I'm going to go through the post and share some of the real nuggets of wisdom that I found, and I'll leave a link to the post in the video description so that you can go and check it out too. Genuinely, go check it out, upvote it, it's absolutely amazing. So the writer begins with his main point, honesty, and being honest with yourself. He goes on to say, there's a power to saying things out loud, and this works especially well when talking about ourselves to ourselves. We bury the things that cause us pain, but that's about as useful as dragging a balloon filled with air deep into a swimming pool. No matter how hard you try, it'll always resurface. What he's trying to say here, and this can be a tough truth to swallow at times, is that finger pointing will get you nowhere. Failure is a consequence of your own choices and actions. And this is something, if you tune into my streams, you'll see me doing more and more. I may scream in pain as my beautiful Warden has her head chopped off, but shortly after that, I'll usually speak out loud a few things I didn't do well in that match, or some attacks I relied on too heavily that I shouldn't have. Finger pointing and blaming it on the game or the myth that your opponent's warrior is OP is lazy, and as the writer says, it distracts you from what your true goal should be, to analyse the way you play so that you can improve. I'd encourage and challenge you all, whether you're playing this game, whether you feel you're a pro or you're just starting out, to speak out an analysis of your play once a match ends. Even if you win, over time, I guarantee you'll see a shift in your mindset. Next, he goes on to talk about objective. Now, I could try and paraphrase this, but what he's written here is actually so good, I'm just going to quote him directly. He says this: I love the Valkyrie. She's really versatile and has a ton of cool moves, but more importantly, she looks like a total badass while doing all that good stuff. I mean, that right there is debatable. You know, what about the Warden? You know, she looks pretty cool too. Anyway, but her base damage is ridiculously low, and despite wielding a spear, her range is not that great. Did I ditch her for a high damage class? No. Did I scavenge in search for better loot? No. Did I adapt my playstyle to circumvent this current shortcoming? Absolutely. Just like with honesty, it's more efficient for you to take the high road when it comes to choosing your objective. Being mindful and pragmatic about your goals is the healthiest way to achieve them, and by healthy, what I mean is this: defeat can still be profitable. It shouldn't come as a surprise that no matter how hard you try, you'll sometimes lose. Fortunately though, winning doesn't have to and shouldn't be your only objective. Sure, the goal is to win, but in between the beginning and end of a round, a lot of things can happen outside of your control. When things derail and you see victory slip through your fingers, don't panic. Reassess your objective and work on what you can accomplish at that moment. I really empathize with this point that he's making here as well, by the way. For instance, for me, I want to get better at implementing my Warden's shoulder barge in battle. I'm working on perfecting the timing of my parries as well as the overhead light counter. So that's what I keep an eye on in battle. Once I master that, I'm hoping to move on to figuring out feints, which at the moment I find really tricky to do and really tricky to master. So I'm toning that back. I know that at this point in time, the skill level that is needed of me or required of me as a player to do feints is too high. So what I want to work on first is really solidifying and learning how to parry correctly, how to do the shoulder barge, because it took me ages to even figure out how to do that, as well as doing the overhead light counter, which is a move that I love to perform, but that I keep messing up the timing. So those are the things that I want to focus on. Those are my objectives. Equally, I know that I struggle when I play against peacekeepers. I don't think I'm the only one that struggles when playing against peacekeepers, but they're the main warrior that I struggle against. And now more recently, I'm starting to come up against more Shugokis. I've never played against Shugokis before. I don't know how to combat them, how I played against them. So when I see either of these classes on the field, I run towards them. I want to learn, knowing I'll most likely die, because I recognize that even in losing to them, I'm gathering information, I'm gathering data on how that hero can be played, and eventually I know and I believe that I'll find a way to defeat them. Set yourself a goal in game, something you want to learn, something you want to master. If winning is your only goal, you're going to be disappointed often. The third point that he makes is patience, and this is incredibly apt given the amount of people trying to AFK farm at the moment. There are no shortcuts to greatness. When asked on stream what I thought about these people AFK farming, I told you guys that I thought it was hilarious. Mainly because what the players believe they're doing is farming XP to get really great gear and hit a high level, because they believe great gear plus being a high level makes them a great player. And this is something I'll touch upon in an upcoming Road to Reputation video, but the short response to this is, hell no, it doesn't. What will now happen to those people is that they're going to be pitted against players who have earned their rank, earned their gear through blood, sweat and tears, and find that they'll get slaughtered. It's like they've been given the best armor without knowing how to use it, or what armor even is. To quote Brad Pitt in Inglourious Basterds, and I don't quote Brad Pitt in Inglourious Basterds often, he says, the way musicians get to perform at Carnegie Hall is through practice. And it's the same for you when you play For Honor. Earn your gear, stop looking for shortcuts. Finally, the main point that the writer focuses on is one that I wished that the community grasped more, and that is positivity. Whether you're hoping to become the next pro For Honor player, or you're a weekend warrior, never lose sight that we play this game to have fun. We play games in general to have fun, to connect and find like-minded people who share this same passion that we have. To find an escape from daily humdrum life and go explore the galaxies in Mass Effect, to storm the battlefield, storm the gates in For Honor, to explore the Wild West in Red Dead Redemption. That is why we play games. So folks, that is today's Road to Reputation for you. It's been intense, I know, but I'm starting this series as I mean to go on, and I'm doing that intentionally. I'm going to try and uphold these values that I've talked about in today's video throughout this series. There won't be any game bashing, there won't be any complaining. Instead, it's going to be me and my journey to become a better player, and I'll be sharing what I'm learning and what I've learned along the way with you guys. So if that sounds like something you think is pretty cool, feel free to hit that subscribe button to be notified of when new videos go out. Equally, let me know what you guys think of this episode down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and what I've been chatting about. But in the meantime, folks, I hope you're all having a great week, and I'll see you soon.